What's up, everyone? During this time of year, video game hunting can be a bit challenging, especially at places like garage sales and outdoor flea markets. Depending on where you live, you might be buried under a few feet of snow right now, or like in my area, it's been raining a lot, very windy and chilly out. In fact, it's raining right now while I'm making this video, and that can mean like outdoor things like garage sales just aren't even going to happen, which usually means I shift my focus to pawn shops and thrift stores this time of year, and a lot of my pickups have come from there. So in my pickups videos, I've been getting a lot of comments like, man, my pawn shops suck, they never have good deals, their prices are always too high. So I figured this is a good time to make a video talking about the tips and tricks that have worked for me in my area, and hopefully you can use some of them in your local area. Now this series, the game collecting tips videos that I've done, I started a couple years back. This is the 4th entry now I've done in this series, so feel free to go check out the playlist, which has all the videos in it on my main channel page. First, I'm going to talk about pawn shops because that's mainly where I go, and then I'll cover some thrift store specific things at the end. But a lot of these things can be used at either place or even at like garage sales or game stores or whatever. Also, if you don't mind, please give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let me know some tips or tricks that you have used in the past that have worked and maybe some cool deals that you have gotten. Without further ado, let's get started. Something that will greatly increase your chances of finding things at these places is to go in very frequently. I recommend at least once a week, if not more. In fact, for me, there's a couple of pawn shops that I will go to almost every single day, if not every other day on my way to work. These places are going to be putting out stuff on a daily basis. At pawn shops, they're always having things come off of pawn. At thrift stores, things are getting donated every single day. And if you skip going for like a couple weeks, just think of all the things that have gone out, and if they were priced decently and they were a good deal, they're not going to sit there. They're going to be gone within a few hours or maybe a day at the most, so you really have to go in very frequently. Also, make sure you're talking to the employees that work at these places. Let them know what you're looking for, maybe leave them your number, be friendly, have conversations with them. Don't just go in, look in a cabinet, and leave, because the more you talk with these people, they're going to know that, oh, hey, you're looking for old video games. If they get something in that they think you might be interested, maybe they'll even set it aside, give you a call, or, at least you just have a good conversation, a good rapport with them, which will help down the line when actually trying to buy things. So definitely talk to them and try to be as friendly as possible. Each pawn shop or thrift store could use a different pricing system, even if they're a part of the same company. To give you an example, in my area, there's one Cash America pawn that will price all of their 360, PS3, and Wii games at $10 a piece. Doesn't matter if it's a 8-year-old sports title or if it's a game that came out 3 weeks ago, it'll be $10. And then all of their PS4 and Xbox One games are $25 a piece. Now, there's another Cash America that will price all of their games based off of the average that they're listed on half.com. And then there's another one that'll do like GameStop's website or eBay, or just sort of randomly be like, I don't know, $5, $80. They're all going to be different. So the only way you're really going to learn these is to go into each one, sort of ask around, talk to the employees and see, hey, what are the prices of these? How are you getting the prices for these? And then you can use that to your advantage. Now, when you're talking to the employees, you're also probably going to learn that some are going to be more interested in talking to you about video games. Maybe they play or collect themselves. Other people are not going to care at all. So that's going to also factor in when you're trying to work out a deal. You're probably going to want to deal with the people that are interested in talking with you about video games, not the guy that's like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to give you a deal. That's the prices. So you just got to feel it out, find that person that's going to give you a good deal. And then one big important thing to remember is if someone isn't willing to work with you on a deal and they're giving you just whatever the sticker price is, don't get mad. Do not start arguing with them. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to probably make them go, you know what, you're right. I'll give you half off on that. All it's going to do is piss them off. They're going to probably then talk about you to the other employees. So if you're in there frequently, they're going to be like, oh, that's that guy that argues about the prices and he's a jerk. So don't get mad. Just be like, okay, I understand that's your price, and then move on. Go to another person on another day. Like I said, find who's going to talk to you a little bit better. But whatever you do not argue the prices. It's not going to help. At some pawn shops, on the price stickers, they'll put the date of when the item went out for sale. Pay attention to that date, because if it's been sitting around for a decent amount of time, they're going to be more likely to discount it. With my experience, 30 days seems to be about the amount of time where they're finally going to go, okay, that's been out for long enough, we'll knock a few bucks off. Anything shorter than 30 days, it's harder to get them to take any money off because they're going to be like, well, hasn't really been out that long, we're going to see if we can get the full price that we're asking. Obviously, it's going to be different at different stores in different areas. I have gotten discounts on items that have only been out for a day or went out obviously on that same day. It's just going to depend on the time and the place and everything. Also, ask if they have anything that isn't out yet. Stuff that has come off pawn hold or even at thrift stores, they've gotten donated, but they haven't priced, haven't put out on the sales floor. I've ended up getting a lot of good things that way. And sometimes, if you get them to bring the stuff out and maybe they're a little busy or whatever, and they haven't priced it yet, they'll just be like, I don't know, how about like $2 each? Because they don't want to, take the time while you're standing there to go through it all. It's not a guarantee, obviously, but it is definitely a possibility. So make sure you ask if there's anything that they have sitting in the back or under the counter that hasn't come out yet for sale. When I'm out game hunting, I'm looking for things for my personal collection, as well as rare or popular items that I know people would be interested in out at the flea market. I'm also looking for things that I know would trade in well at places like GameStop. These are things that I wouldn't really pick up to take to the flea market because most people might not really be looking for them, or they might not know they have any actual value. But for example, something like Wii Sports, which there are millions upon millions of copies of that game out there, I can come across it usually on a weekly basis and pick it up for $1 or $2. Currently, when I'm making this video, it'll trade in at GameStop for $10. Now, that trade value has changed over the years. I've seen it as low as like $4 and as high as like 13 or 14. But it is so common. I have picked up 100 plus copies easily and have traded in and gotten 4, 5, 6, 7 times the value of what I paid for it. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for Wii Sports Resort. Some other ones would be like the NCAA series of football and basketball. It was canceled a few years back, and some of those last releases are worth a decent amount still and actually trade in for a good amount. Also, like sometimes kids' cartoon video games or ones based off of kids' movies hold some value and trade in pretty well. So keep an eye out for those. A great way to get discounts at places like pawn shops is to buy in bulk. If you're bringing one game to the counter and you're asking 50% off on it, it's probably not going to work. But if you're bringing 5 or 10 or more items, they're going to be like, hey, look, this guy's going to spend a decent amount of money. He's clearing space on our shelves for us to put more product out. Yeah, we'll work with them. We'll give them a good deal. For example, that pawn shop I said that priced a lot of their games strictly at $10. First time I ever went in there, I was like, how much? $10? Okay, well, what if I bought like 5 games? Yeah, we'll knock $1 or $2 off. What if I bought like 10 games? Yeah, we'll knock $3 or $4 off. So it's a good thing to always ask, and I've had at pawn shops before, they're like, you're only buying 2 items? Buy more, we'll give you a deal. They actually try to push it on me. Also, if they won't even give you a discount when you're buying in bulk, one last thing to try is say, could we do it like with no tax? So whatever the sticker price is, just be like, so it's going to total up to $50 before tax. Can we just make it an even 50? And that works quite often. So use that as a last resort. One last tip in the sense of buying things at pawn shops is if you see something that you're really interested in, but maybe you don't want to spend quite that much money right at that time, ask if they have layaway. Most pawn shops I've ever been in do layaway, and their layaway fees are usually really inexpensive, so you might only have to put like a few bucks down, and then maybe the fee for the layaway is going to be a few extra bucks. But I have gotten items in the past where I didn't want to really spend like $100 right there, but I threw 20 bucks down on layaway, came back 2 weeks later, and then picked it up and only had to pay, like I said, maybe like $5 on top of it for the layaway fee. So keep that in mind too if you see something you're really interested in. The last few things I want to mention pertain to thrift stores. In this video, I really didn't spend a lot of time specifically talking about thrift stores because personally for me, in my area, they're not the best place to go game hunting at. I found out a while ago that a lot of the thrift stores in my area put their better items for sale online, and unfortunately, that includes a lot of their video game items. Now, I'd rather spend that time going to a place like a pawn shop where I know they have a large video game section instead of going to a thrift store that I might be lucky to find 1 or 2 games sitting on a shelf. They don't even have a section. So one tip is go to your local thrift stores and not only obviously ask where would your video games be, but ask if they ever actually put the video games out for sale or if they just throw them up on their online store or on an eBay page or something. So that's going to be a specific thing that you're going to have to find out in your local area. Now, another thing is, see if in your area you have a place that is like a weigh and pay. Now, we have a Goodwill weigh and pay in our area, and what that means is you go there and they unload just tons and tons of stuff onto these tables. You dig through it and you're looking for whatever items you're looking for. You throw it in your cart, you take it up to the counter, and they weigh what you have and you pay by weight. And you can get some insane deals. I have a few friends that do this that I get games from, and they'll go in and for like $1.50 they could get a DS with like 20 games. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but just to give you an idea, price is not too far off from that. So see if you have a weigh and pay or something similar that's sort of like just like a bulk center where they're trying to get rid of as much stuff as they can before they have to then distribute it out to other stores or putting it online or whatever. That is definitely a good place to hit up if you have one near you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope there's some tips that you can use. Again, please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed and leave a comment down below. I will see you all later. Peace.